An urban area is characterized by higher population density and vast human features in comparison to the areas surrounding it. Urban areas may be cities, towns or conurbations, but the term is not commonly extended to rural settlements such as villages and hamlets. The world's urban population in 1950 of just 746 million has soared in the decades since. In 2009, the number of people living in urban areas surpassed the number living in rural areas, and since then the world has become more urban than rural. This was the first time that the majority of the world's population lived in a city. In 2014 there were 7.25 billion people living on the planet, of which the global urban population comprised 3.9 billion. The Population Division of the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs at the time predicted the urban population would grow to 6.4 billion by 2050, with 37% of that growth to come from three countries, China, India and Nigeria. Urban areas are created and further developed by the process of urbanization. Measuring the extent of an urban area helps in analyzing population density and urban sprawl, and in determining urban and rural populations. Unlike an urban area, a metropolitan area includes not only the urban area, but also satellite cities plus intervening rural land that is socio-economically connected to the urban core city, typically by employment ties through commuting, with the urban core city being the primary labor market. Definitions vary somewhat between nations. European countries define urbanized areas on the basis of urban-type land use, not allowing any gaps of typically more than 200 m, and use satellite imagery instead of census blocks to determine the boundaries of the urban area. In less developed countries, in addition to land use and density requirements, a requirement that a large majority of the population, typically 75%, is not engaged in agriculture and/or fishing is sometimes used. Argentina is highly urbanized. The 10 largest metropolitan areas account for half of the population, and fewer than 1 in 10 live in rural areas. About 3 million people live in Buenos Aires City, and the Greater Buenos Aires metropolitan area totals around 13 million, making it one of the largest urban areas in the world. The metropolitan areas of Córdoba and Rosario have around 1.3 million inhabitants each, and Mendoza, Tucumán, La Plata, Mar del Plata, Salta and Santa Fe have at least 500,000 people each. The population is unequally distributed amongst the provinces. About 60% live in the Pampa region, including 15 million people in Buenos Aires province, Córdoba province, Santa Fe province and the autonomous city of Buenos Aires have 3 million each. 7 other provinces have over 1 million people each: Mendoza, Tucumán, Entre Ríos, Salta, Chaco, Corrientes and Misiones. Tucumán is the most densely populated with 60 inhabitants km squared, the only Argentine province more densely populated than the world average, while the southern province of Santa Cruz has around 1 inhabitant km squared. Australia. In Australia, urban areas are referred to as urban centres, and are defined as population clusters of 1,000 or more people, with a density of at least 200 per kilometre. 2. Brazil. According to IBGE, urban areas already concentrate 84.35% of the population, while the southeast region remains the most populated one, with over 80 million inhabitants. The largest metropolitan areas in Brazil are São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, and Belo Horizonte, all in the southeastern region, with 19.5, 11.5, and 5.1 million inhabitants respectively. The majority of state capitals are the largest cities in their states, except for Vita cubed Rio, the capital of Espírito Santo, and Floriana cubed Polis, the capital of Santa Catarina. There are also non-capital metropolitan areas in the states of São Paulo, Minas Gerais, Rio Grande do Sul and Santa Catarina. Canada. According to Statistics Canada, an urban area in Canada is an area with a population of at least 1,000 people where the density is no fewer than 400 persons per square kilometre. 2. If 2 or more urban areas are within 2 km of each other by road, they are merged into a single urban area, provided they do not cross census metropolitan area or census agglomeration boundaries. In the Canada 2011 census, Statistics Canada redesignated urban areas with a new term population centre. The new term was chosen in order to better reflect the fact that urban versus rural is not a strict division, but rather a continuum within which several distinct settlement patterns may exist. For example, a community may fit a strictly statistical definition of an urban area, but may not be commonly thought of as urban, because it has a smaller population, or functions socially and economically as a suburb of another urban area rather than as a self-contained urban entity, or is geographically remote from other urban communities. Accordingly, the new definition set out three distinct types of population centers: small, medium and large. Despite the change in terminology, however, the demographic definition of a population center remains unchanged from that of an urban area, a population of at least 1,000 people where the density is no fewer than 400 persons per square kilometer. 2. China. Since 2000, China's cities have expanded at an average rate of 10% annually. It is estimated that China's urban population will increase by 292 million people by 2050, when its cities will house a combined population of over 1 billion. The country's urbanization rate increased from 17.4% to 46.6% between 1978 and 2009, a scale unprecedented in human history. Between 150 and 200 million migrant workers work part-time in the major cities, returning home to the countryside periodically with their earnings. Today, China had dozens of cities with 1 million or more long-term residents, including the three global cities of Beijing, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. By 2025, the country will be home to 221 cities with over 1 million inhabitants. The figures in the table below are from the 2008 census, and are only estimates of the urban populations within administrative city limits. A different ranking exists when considering the total municipal populations. The large floating populations of migrant workers make conducting censuses in urban areas difficult. The figures below include only long-term residents. Finland. Similar to other Nordic countries, an urban area in Finland must have a building at least every 200 meters and at least 200 people. To be considered a town or a city for statistical purposes, an urban area must have at least 15,000 people. This is not to be confused with the city/town designation used by municipalities. France. In France, an urban area is a zone encompassing an area of built-up growth, close in definition to the North American urban area, and its commuter belt. Although the official INSEE translation of urban is urban area, most North Americans would find the same as being similar in definition to their metropolitan area. The largest cities in France, in terms of urban area population, are Paris, Lyon, Marseille, Toulouse, Lille, Bordeaux, Nice, Nantes, Strasbourg and Rennes. Germany. Germany has a number of large cities. There are 11 officially recognized metropolitan regions in Germany and since 2006, 34 potential cities were identified which can be called a regiopolis. The largest conurbation is the Rhine-Ruhr region, including Darwin-Düsseldorf, Cologne, Bonn, Dortmund, Essen, Duisburg, and Bochum. India. For the census of India 2011, the definition of urban area is as follows: all places with a municipality, corporation, cantonment board or notified town area committee, etc. All other places which satisfied the following criteria. A minimum population of 5,000. At least 75% of the male main working population engaged in non-agricultural pursuits. And, a density of population of at least 400 persons per square kilometer. Source, a PDF file named 1. Data highlight accessed on April 11, 2012 from Census of India, 2011. The figure below is the population statistic for the year 2011. This is a list of city population and it does not indicate urban agglomeration population. Japan. In Japan, urbanized areas are defined as contiguous areas of densely inhabited districts using census enumeration districts as units with a density requirement of 4,000 inhabitants per square kilometer. The Netherlands is the 24th most densely populated country in the world, with 404.6 inhabitants per square kilometre euro, or 497 inhabitants per square kilometre if only the land area is counted. The Randstad is the country's largest conurbation located in the west of the country and contains the four largest cities, Amsterdam in the province North Holland, Rotterdam and The Hague in the province South Holland, and Utrecht in the province Utrecht. The Randstad has a population of 7 million inhabitants and is the sixth largest metropolitan area in Europe. Norway. Statistics Norway defines urban areas similarly to the other Nordic countries. Unlike in Denmark and Sweden, the distance between each building has to be of less than 50 m, although exceptions are made due to parks, industrial areas, rivers, and similar. Groups of houses less than 400 m from the main body of an urban area are included in the urban area. Philippines, with an estimated population of 16.3 m. Metro Manila is the most populous metropolitan area in the Philippines and the 11th in the world. However, the greater urban area is the fifth largest in the world with a population of 20,654,307 people. Including Metro Manila, the Philippines has 12 metropolitan areas as defined by the National Economic and Development Authority. Metro Angeles, Metro Bacolod, Metro Baguio, Metro Batangas, Metro Cagayan de Oro, Metro Cebu, Metro Dagupan, Metro Davao, Metro Iloilo Guimaras, Metro Naga, Metro Olongapo. Poland. In Poland, official urban population figures simply refer to those localities which have the status of towns. The rural population is that of all areas outside the boundaries of these towns. This distinction may give a misleading impression in some cases, since some localities with only village status may have acquired larger and denser populations than many smaller towns. Russia. In Russia, only the population residing in cities, towns and urban-type settlements is considered to be urban. The site urban settlement designation means usually that the majority of the population is employed in areas other than agriculture, but the exact definitions vary from one federal subject to another. Singapore. Singapore is an island city-state in Southeast Asia. About 5.2 million people live and work within 700 square kilometers, making Singapore the third most densely populated country in the world after Monaco, another city-state. The entire island functions as a single metropolitan area. The city centre near the south of the island is surrounded by satellite towns, parks, reservoirs and industrial estates, which are connected to the centre and each other by a dense network of roads, expressways and metro railway lines dubbed MRT by locals. Singapore has a highly centralized, unitary government with a unicameral legislature. While there are town councils and mayors in Singapore, these are essentially property managers in charge of the maintenance of public housing within their constituency boundaries. They do not represent local authorities with any legislative or executive autonomy from the national government. South Africa. South Korea. The largest cities of South Korea have an autonomous status equivalent to that of provinces. Seoul, the largest city and capital, is classified as a trikbilsi, while the next six largest cities are classified as gwanggyeoksi. Smaller cities are classified as si and are under provincial jurisdiction, at the same level as counties. Sweden. Urban areas in Sweden are statistically defined localities, totally independent of the administrative subdivision of the country. There are 1956 such localities in Sweden, with a population ranging from 200 to 1,372,000 inhabitants. Taiwan. The figures below are the 2011 estimates for the 20 largest urban populations within administrative city limits. A different ranking exists when considering the total metropolitan area populations. United Kingdom. The United Kingdom's Office for National Statistics has produced census results from urban areas since 1951, since 1981 based upon the extent of irreversible urban development indicated on Ordnance Survey maps. The definition is an extent of at least 20 ha and at least 1,500 census residents. Separate areas are linked if less than 200 m apart. Included are transportation features. The UK has 5 urban areas with a population over 1 million and a further 69 with a population over 100,000. United States. In the United States, there are 2 categories of urban area. The term urbanized area denotes an urban area of 50,000 or more people. Urban areas under 50,000 people are called urban clusters. Urbanized areas were first delineated in the United States in the 1950 census, while urban clusters were added in the 2000 census. There are 1,371 urban areas and urban clusters with more than 10,000 people. The U.S. Census Bureau defines an urban area as core census block groups or blocks that have a population density of at least 1,000 people per square mile and surrounding census blocks that have an overall density of at least 500 people per square mile. The largest urban area in the United States is the New York City metropolitan area. The population of the core city exceeds 8 million people. Its metropolitan statistical area has a population that is over 19 million, and its combined statistical area population is over 22 million. The next 5 largest urban areas in the U.S. are Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, Philadelphia, and Dallas. About 82% of the population of the United States lives within the boundaries of an urbanized area as of December 2010. Combined, these areas occupy about 2% of the United States. Many Americans live in agglomerations of cities, suburbs, and towns that are adjacent to a metropolitan area's largest city. The concept of urbanized areas as defined by the U.S. Census Bureau is often used as a more accurate gauge of the size of a city, since in different cities and states the lines between city borders and the urbanized area of that city are often not the same. For example, the city of Greenville, South Carolina has a city population over 60,000 and an urbanized area population of over 400,000, while Greensboro, North Carolina has a city population over 200,000 and an urbanized area population of around 310,000 euro, meaning that Greenville is actually larger for some intents and purposes, but not for others, such as taxation, local elections, etc. In the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resources Inventory, urban areas are officially known as developed areas or urban and built-up areas. Such areas include cities, ethnic villages, other built-up areas of more than 10 ac, industrial sites, railroad yards, cemeteries, airports, golf courses, shooting ranges, institutional and public administration sites, and similar areas. The 1997 National Resources Inventory placed over 98 million ac in this category, an increase of 25 million ac since 1982. Vietnam. See also, developed environments, central business district, city, exurban, global city, metropolitan area, rural, suburban, town, urban agglomeration. Architecture, rapid transit, urban biosphere reserve, urban climatology, urban culture, urban decay, urban planning, urban renewal, urban sprawl, urbanization, lists, list of metro systems, list of urban areas by population, largest urban areas of the European Union, list of cities in the People's Republic of China by urban population, list of United States urban areas, list of conurbations in the United Kingdom, largest urban areas of Norway. List of urban areas in the Nordic countries, list of the 100 largest urban areas in Canada by population, list of urban areas in Denmark by population, ranked list of New Zealand. Main urban areas, references. External links, United Nations Statistics Division, definition of urban, World Urban Areas, all identified world urbanized areas 500,000 plus and others, population and density. Geopolis, Research Group, University of Paris Diderot, France for World Urban Areas, Gridded Population of the World. Euro contains links to urban area definitions and maps for over 230 countries territories, city mayors. Euro the world's largest urban areas in 2006, City mayors The world's largest urban areas projected for 2020, population data, world's largest urban areas 1 million plus population.